Brilliance without the hype music? Anybody? Stephanie, I think you were there. Was it? Would you? Huh?
The music was there.
Yeah, and it's not the same. He brings the hype. Dr. D brings the hype. So thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. D. Now, I want to kick this off and just say this is a blended presentation. What does that mean? That means sometimes we're going to yell at y'all like I'm doing, and sometimes I'm going to yell at y'all up there in the sky to see what y'all are doing. Because we're going to bring it on both screens. Kyle, are you ready for this?
Oh, always. I'm so stoked. This is the coolest thing, definitely be in person. Because like we can definitely just like yell and scream and jump around.
Yes.
No, seriously, we're about to get hyped. Really excited for this to kick off.
All right, and Christopher, are you ready to bring it?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Just being able to be with y'all, have the energy, bring the energy, just share that with y'all, I think that's awesome. So, yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, man, I feel it. It's going to be a good night. Tonight is all about tacos. No. Tonight is all about personal growth, right? Sometimes you hear it when you live it, and you hear it when you see it, but you know it when you feel it, right? And so tonight we want you to feel what it's like to be around somebody who's overcome the odds. And so Christopher McDonald is our guest here, our VIP speaker who's going to be sharing his story and some of the raw truths, right?
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes it wasn't so pretty, right?
No, yeah, it won't be.
It's not going to be pretty, and that's what today's about. Has anybody seen him present before on one of our Bridge to Brilliance? You got a couple, some love? All right. So we're going to share his story and take it to the next level. So thank you so much for that. Did anybody enter the photo contest, by the way? Photo contest. If you have a photo with Jax and you post it online, the people who get the most comments wins prizes. So I know most people during presentations tell you to not take your phone out, but you are allowed to take your phone out for this UHB gear we got going on over here. It looks like some hats. And anything else in here that I don't know of that looks really cool. So if you want some swag, post up the photo, tell them the good news that we're doing this event, and we're going to give the prizes away at the end. Sound good, folks? All right, that's what I'm talking about. All right. Totally not TV. I'm really here. I just want to know. Okay. I know you've seen us on TV, but we're in real life today. So I want to know, today is all about, have you ever had to face your fears? Right? Have you ever had that moment your heart's pounding, you start sweating, right? All of a sudden you didn't even know your hands sweat, your palms start dripping, right? And you start feeling that nervousness fill up within you. What do you do in those moments? That often determines your level of success. Are you going to go into fight, flight, or are you going to freeze, or are you going to break through, right? And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. First, though, let's ask, what's your greatest fears? I know that's what everybody's looking forward to, right, is telling some greatest fears. You actually have a good joke about this, but we're going to hold on to the joke. Look at him laughing. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so let's see, show of hands here. How many people are afraid of public speaking? Anybody? We've got a couple? All right. Studies show 68% of people would literally rather die than do what I'm doing right now, which I think is kind of funny because the more people are in the room, the louder I get. And so I don't know. But I do understand that makes me unique. What's another fear people got?
So yeah, public speaking is definitely the biggest one, but social, right?
Ooh,
I feel like
social anxiety.
Social anxiety, getting around a lot of people,
Yeah.
and that kind of correlates maybe with the public speaking, but really getting out of that shell to really expose yourself to really be the best you can and really get that support that you need and we need to really move forward and bolster through those breakthroughs.
Show of hands, anybody afraid of going into social situations and having to carry a conversation with people? Anybody? Look them in the eyes. Same people raise their hand for the public speaking. Isn't that interesting? What about falling? Anybody afraid of heights? Falling? Yeah, right? We got a couple. It's actually one of the most popular fears. Pretty crazy, right? Like falling is a real thing that innate at birth we have in us. It's one of the only fears we have when we're born is a fear of falling. Does that mean you don't have as far to fall? I don't know. But I'll give you that one. All right. What's a fear you think somebody might have right now?
I say make it general failing, just.
And this is a double-sided coin.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody in here is like adamantly, legitimately 100% afraid of failure? Okay. Yeah, right? Those are the people who get the best grades, who study for the test, who stress yourself out, who, right? Who are afraid of being late, who don't want to miss the opportunity. Am I describing anybody right? No? I didn't say your closet was clean. I'm just saying that you prepare. All right. But the second half is actually one of the other greatest fears people have, which is the fear of success. And when I first heard that, I got to tell you, I laughed in their face. I said, fear of success? You got to be kidding. Who is afraid of being successful? But there's a very real fear of success where you begin to self-sabotage in your life and you get closer to your goals. So if you are a self-sabotager, you might need to do some research on fear of success. But these are just a couple of goals, a couple of fears rather. So let's do a quick little group here. We want to break y'all into groups related to your fears. So I saw a couple of people who are afraid of the public speaking and the social events. I want y'all over here. And then let's see, for the ones who are not left for those events, is there one that we didn't touch on for a fear that you have? Please.
Fear of success.
Fear of success. Ooh, this is a good one. Who else is afraid of success? Everybody's going to want a handout. I'm going to have to worry about them taxes. You know, the government's going to take half of it. What if I lose it? These are real problems. I don't know about wealth strategies. Now I got to learn wealth strategy. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So we got some fear of success. You go ahead and come on up here. Is that okay to come to Stephanie? Okay. And then who else is not in the public speaking and social circles one or fear of success? Does that cover everybody? Fear of heights? All right, and fear of heights is right back there in the corner. All right. Anybody, did I miss you? Ooh. Ooh, I agree, actually. I can really relate to that.
For sure.
Anybody else? Anybody else for that one? We got one here? Okay. Okay, so then we're going to have the fear of letting people down is going to be here in the front. Does that sound good? Okay, ready? Break. I'm going to walk you through what you're going to do, but just go ahead and get in your groups. I know all the social anxiety people are like, I have to leave my chair? What do you mean, my stuff? All right, and for you folks who are watching virtually, I want you to start thinking about what is your greatest fear. I'm not forgetting about you, so write it down. You can do this exercise too.
Social anxiety.
There's only one social anxiety.
You're like, this is causing unnecessary social anxiety.
Kind of like everything all the time. Social anxiety.
All right, here we go. Everybody, we're gonna need at least one person in your group who's gonna have a pen and paper. You're gonna have one person who's going to be the person to bring the conversation back on track, and you're gonna have one person who's gonna present. So figure out who's the writer, the facilitator, and the presenter.
And Woodrow can be all three.
All right. So everybody knows who's presenting, who's writing down, and who's keeping y'all on track internally. Okay. You figured out? Donald, they're in full swing over there. All right. So here we go. So this is all about how to plan. Up here, you guys, real quick. Dr. D? Real quick, y'all. So, real quick, this is all about helping you be able to plan your best next move when you're frightened and terrified. So, this is what you're going to do. You're going to write down something that you fear. So, write down right now the shared fear y'all have right at the top of the paper. And then I'm going to give you the instructions because I don't have the slides up. So, just listen before we break out, and I'll guide y'all. We're going to have 2 minutes. And I want you to brainstorm what is the worst thing that could happen related to that fear. 2 minutes of brainstorming, what is the worst thing that can happen? Then we're going to do 2 minutes to list how you can stop those things from happening before they happen. And then we're lastly doing 1 minute on what if the worst thing happens, how can you repair it? Okay? So I'm going to time it out and guide y'all through it. But does anybody have any questions? We're doing 2 minutes to brainstorm worst thing that could happen. 2 minutes. What are you going to do to stop that from happening? And 1 minute on how are you going to repair it if it does happen. Does that sound good, folks? All right, 5 minutes on the clock. Ready, go. This is when we need a speaker.
Maybe like some.
Classical does improve cognitive abilities.
Classic, yeah, I heard about that. It's awesome.
It's true.
And Mozart, where it helps to
Yep.
for children. Yeah.
I do a lot of bot. Man, this- I'm about to get it. I guess this is more of like a spinning type music.
Yeah.
The finesse, right? That might got a ball.
Yeah. That Harry Potter was Harry Yeah, you would. You go.
You use one of those?
Yeah, my brother.
I wrote it on Goosebumps. Goosebumps books that they used to have like the favorite covers.
Yeah. Those are awesome. All of those. But Harry Potter, my brother, Harry Potter, we have all of these. I'm like, you gotta read all this. It's like a big book. Watch the movies before I was read the book. Harry Potter was.
Questions one more time? Okay. All right, so right now we are brainstorming the list of worst things that could happen. How much time we got?
We have 21 seconds.
21 seconds. Wrap it up of the worst things that could happen. And then we're coming into how are you going to stop these things from happening. So we're wrapping it up, the worst things that could happen. And that's 21 seconds, folks. So go ahead and start listing what, Kyle?
The worst things that can happen.
How are you going to stop them?
How are you going to stop
Yeah.
the worst things from happening?
Yes. Before they happen, what can you put in place so that that horrible thing will not happen?
Self-affirmation. Yeah. Well, I mean, it works. Sure.
I have a hip-hop class here, so it's like routine time and classical. It's in this. It's a violin class. Yeah, I'm like, oh my God. It's called classical. Yeah, but no, it's live performances. Like, have you ever seen the piano guys? So go to Google and just put in piano guys. And it's like hip-hop songs. And they like fly a piano into the hand. Like literally on the in the videos you'll see it. And then they like and then guys it's like a violin. And they're like, there's no words.
Yeah.
But it's like hip-hop songs. They're doing amazing videos.
It's called piano guy?
Yeah, the piano guys. You gotta be able
Yeah,
to
that's awesome.
especially for clients who need to calm down when they're in classical. This will like start calming.
Wow.
That's how I got into classical. It's the piano guys.
Have sessions for
Yeah.
30 seconds.
30 seconds for what?
In 30 seconds, how are you going to stop the worst things from happening? I get you.
All right, so in our last minute, we're gonna conclude with what are you gonna do to repair when it does happen? So it's happened, now what are you doing to repair?
How much time we get?
Yeah, 1 minute.
I know, 1 minute. We'll give you 2. I'm gonna give you 2. We're feeling generous. Yes, 2 minutes. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Because if they're
And then
All right, you got about 15 seconds. So you can start wrapping up. 15 seconds.
See, at that point, I think I would just like kind of.
Okay, 15 seconds is up. Start
And
wrapping up.
that's a wrap, folks. How do you feel? Have you conquered your fears? Are you ready? Do you have a plan? That's what today's about, right? The reality is, life is going to kick you in the teeth sooner or later, right? Whether or not it's your greatest fear or a small fear, life is going to kick you in the teeth. But the reality is, we can be ready and we can move through it and we can turn that into our greatest strength, as we're going to hear today with Christopher McDonald and how he turned what could be perceived as failure into who he is today to help even more people and stand in front of us. So hopefully that was a thought-provoking exercise. Over here in this group, from the presenter, what was y'all's takeaways out of this?
We got a lot of things on the table, which was not unexpected, but it was more like we all came together because like we're all trying to do all of a sudden had action.
Yes.
So like we're working off of each other.
So you were in it to win it, someone lit that fuse and all of y'all just started lighting up around each other. Okay. And was there a takeaway about what you would do? What was your fear, by the way, letting people down?
Letting people down
And social anxiety. Those go hand in hand, that's for sure. So what was your big takeaway for that? Was there something you would do or repair, anything that was noteworthy?
The biggest point in my personal thing was reminding ourselves that it's not the end of the world and at some point the issue we're in is going to end.
Yes.
Moving on to the next thing.
Yes.
Communication.
Yes.
It's all trial and error. Sometimes humor works,
Yeah.
Being able to cheer up the crowd will help us get better.
That's what I'm doing. I'm up here dancing, yeah. But I want to pause though on the first thing you said, which is that sooner or later it will be over and this will be done, right? So the reality is we are in control of our thoughts. And at the end, we're not in control of all of them, but some of them. And if we can begin to have that positive self-talk in those really hard situations, that can be the turning point of just reminding you, maybe you need to phone a friend, watch funny cat videos, do some push-ups, walk out of the room, whatever that healthy outlet is, but you're aware of it, you're reflecting on it, you're beginning that positive self-talk and being kind to yourself. So important, regardless of what the fear is, especially social anxiety. So wonderful job. Thank you so much, Ellie. Thank you. Okay, awesome. What about over here? What's y'all's takeaway? What was your fear and what was your takeaway?
Oh, you're putting out this thing right now.
Yes.
So what do you mean by takeaway, like what we got from this exercise?
Up, Dr. D. Yes, please.
Okay. Well, we have fear of success, which I had mentioned earlier.
Yes.
That's also kind of connected to fear of failure.
Yes.
Our takeaway was, you want me to just go down the list?
Yeah, well, just share with me your biggest takeaway. What was the nugget here?
Okay, usually fear of success comes from being knocked down off the pedestal. Like, I think you had mentioned earlier, like you felt you shouldn't have been given credit for your work. I had mentioned earlier that my previous experience, that when I was called to show off, for being able to execute what I was able to do very well.
Yeah.
Some things that we could have done to prevent it, get back up, accept it, learn how to move on from your, I wouldn't say mistakes, but learning how to move on and do what you can with your path.
Yeah, so good. One of the things I learned as an entrepreneur was that your to-do list gets longer, not shorter every day. And so you can imagine how nerve-wracking that is, right? When you're afraid of being successful and you're afraid of failure, you have to remind yourself, I'm doing my best. My best is good enough. This is going to be okay, right? It's that self-talk again. It sounds like is really the precipice, and remind yourself, pick yourself up, do it again, have that positive self-talk, know it's going to be okay. Like you said, this is also going to end, right? Is that kind of what you're experiencing or sharing?
That was going to end.
Well, that pick yourself up and do it again, and have that positive self-talk and kind of walk yourself through it.
Yeah, like that doesn't last forever. Kevin Hart once said,
Oh, let's do this.
Yes.
All right, what's Kevin Hart say?
the comeback is bigger than the setback.
Yes.
And I love that.
Yes.
So like even if I fail, like I was going through a really hard time last week and I was like, man, this really sucks. But like I know it's just gonna get better from there. Like, you
Yes.
can only go up.
Yes.
I mean, you fall, but even if you fall, you're gonna get back up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that famous quote. It's like, it's not about how many times you get knocked down, it's about how many times you get back up.
Yeah.
And so definitely like getting back up and just going after, because the worst is behind you. You know, it just knocks you down, get back up and let's strike forward and let's rock on.
Yeah.
So,
That's what they say when they say fail, is they fail forward. So you're not like failing backward, you know.
Yeah.
And you're learning with those experiences, so that's really awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Good
love
job.
that. Thank you so much for sharing. Tell me your name, please. What was your name? Tell me.
My name is Stacia.
Stacia. Thank you, Stacia. Pleasure, absolutely. So as you can hear from the conversation, this is about taking action when you face failure. By being able to be faced with failure, to be faced with fears, to be gripped with anxiety, and then figure out how to move through that, that is how you create grit. That is how you create perseverance, determination. That's how you overcome obstacles. Isn't that right? Right?
Exactly.
When you're faced with failure and you're gripped, wasn't that the deciding moment in your story?
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, real quick, I just want to share. I don't know if y'all saw the foster care series, but I shared a little bit about my background. Education has made a huge impact in my life. My life really began when I was born to a mother who didn't love me. I suffered severe abuse and neglect as a child and abandoned into the foster care system at 11. My whole life I was told I would be nothing and no one, and what do you think you are, special? And kicked in the teeth every chance I got. So you can imagine when I started getting straight A's after I pulled myself out of special ed, that they told me that I didn't deserve good grades. And in fact, my mother, I remember this in the 5th grade, refused to sign my reading log, so I knew what it felt like to get an F. And so it was that experience of being undermined by my parents through education that only made me more determined. You can only imagine how excited and proud I was when I kept bringing home those grades. So the experience for me, education was my outlet. That's where I was allowed to excel. That's where a teacher said, good job. And I was like, you said good job? Oh, you think that's good? Wait till you see this next one. I'm gonna knock it out of the park. And I began to be silly and come out of my shell. But education allowed for me to do that. So you can only imagine when I was a year-round scholar athlete facing emancipating the foster care system at 18, and I was told that I had to figure out where I was going to live, and then my foster mom died 10 days before my high school graduation. I was left with nothing and no one, and I mean no one. My own grandmother told me I was disowned. So nobody in my family wanted to talk to me. Everybody had given up on me. I was laughed in my face when I said I'd be more than somebody's baby's mom. And so when someone told me that I could go to college for housing, I said, sign me up. I was afraid of being homeless. So I started applying to college, but the only reason I went to college was for housing. Through that experience, though, I went to this little small private Catholic school, and they just polished me out and made me who I am today. And it's really through the process of education that I've been able to break the cycle of poverty in my family. I'm first in my family to reach 16 without a child. I'm first in my family to graduate from high school, let alone go to college, get a double bachelor's, double master's, and a graduate certificate. So I am so proud. Thank you. I am so proud to be here today. And it is only through education that I stand in front of you. Having good clothes with a good job and a good car and a good life is because of my education, truly. So education was the pivotal point of my life where I was able to blossom and be able to provide for myself and now be able to have a family. But education means something different to everybody. Kyle, you were more of a traditional than non-traditional student. Tell me a little bit about how education worked in your life.
Yeah, definitely. Crystal's story, this is so powerful. And so when I graduated high school, my purpose was football. Got a football scholarship. I played in Colorado for a couple years. And so, you know, my biggest fear when I went from high school to college and really leveraging my football career, it was, am I good enough, right? I got the scholarship, you know, I was going to play, but like still you're playing with the best at each high school, and now you're in that next level. And so really focusing on the grit behind that and how I achieved to get to this position is really what motivated me to go through my career. And then 2 years going and playing football, I realized that it was more of a job than a more than fun. And so I hung up the cleats, moved back here, and I started working. I started getting my hands dirty. I started doing maintenance work. I started doing air conditioning. I wasn't in college. It was like I got drove to Colorado for football, and I was in college. And when I came back here, I was like, I just want to work. I just want to get my hands dirty and really get in the workforce. And so it was during that time in my position where I got passed up for promotion. And I was in the top two, to be promoted up, and I got passed. And so my wheels started turning. I wonder if I had a college degree, if I would have got promoted. And so during that time, I was like, you know what? I'm doing it. Let's go. I'm strapping my boots. I'm going back to college. And during that time, I was like wondering, what am I gonna pursue? And so when I was trying to figure out my passion and what I want to do, going through the cycle, I realized focusing on what I enjoy. So I enjoy playing golf. So it's like a challenge. It's a challenge of golf. It's like not knowing what to expect from day to day. And so really leveraging that. And so then I chose finance. And now, going back to college, of course, I'll graduate in December. And it's like, education now has just opened up so many opportunities. And being here at UHB, first to Brilliance, meeting Crystal, and just really exposing myself is what really helped me leverage my career and now in the marketing. And so truly, education has been so powerful to really not only give you the quality education here at UHB, but also just the confidence, I would say, that you have that behind you, and you're going after it, and it's really motivating. So, Chris's story is so powerful as well. So I definitely came into your share about it.
Well, first, let's properly introduce the man of the hour.
Yeah.
Okay. This is Mr. Christopher McDonald, UHB alumni and former student body president, and now case manager and LPC associate and chemical dependency counselor at Gulf Bend, right here in Victoria. So, live in person. Now, tell us a little bit about how education helped you overcome some curveballs in your life.
Okay, well, to kind of start education, my mom was a teacher, and she always instilled how important education was for us in our life. So she always told us like we need to go to school. At one point, she made me go to her school because she wanted to make sure I was doing everything that I needed to do, make sure my grades were right, trying to get me on the routine. So it's always been instilled in us how important education was throughout our whole life. And then, when I initially came to UHB, my goal was to, kind of hop into soccer, really start soccer. So when I was in high school, I played a ton of different sports, like basketball, football, and track, cross country. And, I thought I would more flourish in soccer. So when I came here, I was like, or when I, looking at different schools, I was looking at different teams they had, and I seen they had a soccer team here, and I was, wanted to look at the full dynamic, of course, the classes, what my passion was. And so I decided to try out for the soccer team in the fall or the spring before 2014. And it really kind of prepared me mentally because I came here with my mom. My mom kind of wanted to kind of have that hold on me still. And then I was able to kind of break loose whenever I think the next semester came, but she wanted to kind of see how things were for me, kind of set things up for me. And then so I tried out for the team. I don't know if we're kind of
let's do it. So at this point in the story, he tries out for the team and he gets it, right? That's where the story's going.
Yeah.
Right?
So initially, I tried out for the team in the spring of 2014, and I didn't make the team unfortunately.
What?
Yeah. So it was a curveball for me because my coach really hyped me up. He was saying, as a goalkeeper, I was pretty tall. I was really athletic through all the sports that I played. So, he encouraged me to try out, and he even said, like, if you need me to talk to the coach, he would be willing to do that. But in this case, they already had the team set, so I was like, okay, I already signed up for classes, so I can go ahead and follow through and, continue to go to UHB. So, I went ahead and followed through, signed up for classes, and with confidence that I would probably make the team in the fall, I went ahead, took the classes, and with the discipline I had from high school, from taking AP courses, because like I said, my mom was a teacher and she really instilled in how important education was for us. I was able to try out again in the fall. And then from there, I failed again. So that was 2 failures. And that was, it did a lot it can do a lot to your self-esteem, when you constantly go and you constantly try at anything, so you have to be able to, like we were talking earlier about keeping that positive mindset and kind of letting what happened not necessarily determine who you are, not letting those failures say, I'm a failure, but saying, okay, how can I adjust my mindset? How can I adjust my situation? Show that I am more than, what happened. I am more than a failure. So that was the initial goal of coming to UHB, but then, I fell in love with the passion of psychology and counseling and helping people really improve themselves. And so that's what really drew me to the education.
Okay, and then tell me about the snack shack.
Okay, so I worked at the snack shack.
Anybody, you met the snack shack before? We know snack shack?
Yeah, how many people went to the snack shack before? There's a couple of people. So the snack shack in residence life. Before I was a resident assistant, I worked in the snack shack my first year, and in the second year, unfortunately, I was around individuals that didn't have necessarily the best mindset, and this is why it's important that you always are around people that are motivating, inspiring you, and people that you want to be like. Because a lot of times they say, if you show me your friends, I'll show you your future. So you want to be very careful about the people you hang around with, because some people, I don't want to say tear you down, but you also, sometimes you can be the person to lift them up. Sometimes you can be that light in their world, and you can light their candle. But that sometimes, it's guilty by association around the wrong crowd, and you're not able to have those positions that you had previously. So I unfortunately lost that position. And again, I couldn't let that dictate me.
Yeah, so many people would have fallen on their face at that point. But instead, you said, no, I'm going to become an RA and homecoming king? You were homecoming king, right?
No, I didn't make that either.
No?
Yeah,
Man, this is really summing it up, isn't it?
So they're just, several different things. I mean, that was another case that kind of dwelled on me. I remember, like, after losing homecoming, I had to tell myself, I'm still a king.
Is that positive self-talk?
Like, it's all right, I lost, but, it's part of life, essentially. So I just had to remind myself, like, it's not, like I said, this situation doesn't dictate where I'm going to be or who I am. And you have to constantly, like I say, it's like a constant reminder, when you experience those moments. So.
Yeah, so definitely with those setbacks, like what jump starts you though, Chris, like to really have that courage to get back up and just keep pushing forward?
Definitely a sense of a pro mentality. And I think that's something we talked about previously as well, like persistence, resilience, and realizing the opportunity that's in front of me. So, being persistent, keep going through. Sometimes you gotta be a bulldozer. You have to have a bulldozer mindset. You can't take no for an answer in this sense. And if if you realize there is a no, then you have to find another avenue to say, I'm not gonna let this fail. I'm not gonna let this failure dictate me, or I'm gonna go a different route and keep going in spite of the potential failures.
That's that resilience layer on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that kind of goes with persistent and resilience. Be persistent, be consistent. Continue to go at. I didn't continue to go to coach and be like, coach, give me a chance. I know I can. Be or out improve all the rest of the players. I was like, okay, well, this isn't working. So let me reevaluate my plan, what I really want to do in life. Sometimes it's just, just taking a different plan and evaluating like where you'd be more successful at.
Definitely, yeah. And so being persistent and with that resilience layered on, did you see a lot of opportunities, a lot of doors open along your way and down your road?
Yeah, from a resident assistant and not letting what happened with the snack shack incident, not letting that prevent me from not applying. A lot of people have been like, I got in trouble with residents, like, well, now I won't be able to get a resident assistant position. And I said, there's still a shot that I have, an opportunity that I have, so I'm gonna go ahead and pursue it. And other opportunities like Student Government Association president and everything else I'll be able to be involved in, I wouldn't have had the confidence if I didn't decide to continue to press forward and say, I'm not gonna let this failure, dictate.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's so good. And one thing I want to add real quick, just be patient, trust the journey, trust that it's going to work out. You know what? I had an old football coach. He always said, and it resonates with me till today. Like whenever I'm stressed out and I'm just thinking about way too much stuff, he's like, think of when, and it stands for what's important now. And so whenever you think what's important now, you really start focusing on what do I need to get done in order to complete my goals in the future, and what's going to really help me right now in this situation, living in this moment.
Yeah, that's powerful.
And honestly, that's how the Navy SEALs train, right? Is they actually train by what can you do right now? What's the best next move? And so when you're in that situation and your heart's pounding and that stress and that sweat and it's real, you just ask yourself, what is the best next move right now? And that could also be transferred to who am I and what do I want? That can be transferred to what's important right now. Whatever those words are for yourself that bring you back to recalibrate, to get out of that stress and remind you of taking that next best move and what's important to you. I love that so much. So we're going into a rapid fire round. But folks, I know you don't want to wrap this up. You miss us. You want to spend time with us, but I think they got this room later, so we got to get through this. So we're going to start applying the PRO mentality. Now, PRO stands for, again, persistence, resilience, and opportunity. So turn your no into an opportunity, change with your environment, and decide to make your next best move. So PRO, persistence, resilience, opportunity. That is this man's embodiment as he stands here today. So kudos to you. Now, you're going to help us learn, right? Because you got this down.
Yeah.
I don't know about y'all, but I kind of need it. I need to hear what he's got. So, okay, and we're going to switch this up, okay? So how do you keep going when life is hard?
You have to constantly remind yourself. It's a daily thing. Sometimes you have to ingrain yourself in positive speakers, people that you want to be like. Sometimes you gotta embody them, maybe dress like them, and then also realize that they're human and they might have some type of they may make mistakes, but essentially you want to embody that and help yourself be molded in the person that you essentially want to become. It's like a piece of your character, your personality. So I think listening to those speakers who really motivate you and inspire you to be more like them. Also developing a routine. Consistency builds characters. When you're constantly doing something every single day, when you're constantly ingrained in something, that can actually help you long term. Like for example, when you're in the gym, you're not going to see results the next day. It takes going in there every day, doing push-ups every day. Every time I go to the gym, I tell myself, I'm not leaving until I do 20 push-ups, and I end up doing like 100 something. But like not at once, but I'll separate it. But like So you have to tell yourself, okay, this is a consistent thing that I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna see the results eventually. So always have that mindset in a sense. And then, like I mentioned earlier, pour positivity into your brain. There's sometimes I'm at the gym, I don't want to listen to like. Sometimes Eric Thomas is a very prominent speaker, and it's like I'm lifting, and I'm like I just want to listen to like some different music, but it's like I want to make sure that my mind is right before each rep I get, I want to make sure I'm pushing myself to the further extent. So I think that's very helpful.
Yeah, and we talk about grit, and like you said earlier, we got to think like bulldozers. Like I love that saying, But so is grit transferable?
Oh yeah, surely. And sometimes, as you mentioned in the highlight video, sometimes you gotta be that candle that gets passed on to other people, and continue to like be able to, I guess, be that person that when in the room, like their light shines, and everyone has a unique night, a unique light. It's not all of us gonna be the same. Not all of us gonna emulate the same, give off the same energy, and it's important to use your uniqueness through the skills you've been gifted with. So I think definitely that's a key part of using your grit to transfer it to others. Yeah, grit is really powerful, and if y'all can hone in on your grit, then it's like you can be like unstoppable.
I want to piggyback on what you're saying too, because one of the things that I'm so passionate about is I believe that children and adult survivors of trauma can unlock superpowers because of what they've been through. They've learned to push through, to come up with that best next step. They've experienced what it's like. So when they get to the workforce, or when they get to a relationship, or they get to a drama with their adult friend or whatever, they're able to move through that and unlock empathy at a deeper rate that somebody who hasn't lived yet doesn't have. So it is in fact a gift to go through that, even though in the moment it is a terrible thing to experience. It's something that can turn into superpower. So I love what you're sharing. It is transferable, and it is like a muscle that you have to start using slowly. So the first time you start using yourself, that positive self-talk to move out of a situation, guess what your brain is going to do on top of it? Slap it down and say, "You kidding me? And all that garbage is going to come out, and then you got to just tell yourself, it's okay. It's okay. I'm doing my best, and my best is good enough." And you just start. But the next time you try to talk yourself out of it, it's going to be a little bit easier. And the next time, and the next time, and the next time. So you got to trust that process. Okay, what's the next one?
So Chris, what would you say to someone who's just, fallen down, they've had setbacks, and just paralyzed right now by fear? What would you tell them?
I'll tell them that use this opportunity. Ancient anxiety, especially now and in previous months, is at like an all-time high. So I think for the most part, like you're saying, people with PTSD or who experience trauma, a lot of times they have the most significant story that they can thrive from. They're like that rose that grew from the concrete.
Yes,
and
that's
like,
my memoir title. I love it.
And like sometimes you just have to be that rose, and everyone has been through some type of. I remember someone told me that in some way, all of our parents damaged us in some way, shape, or form, and it's really important that we're able to, not let that dictate us. A lot of times, they might have said something and stuck with us. They might have done something that stuck with us, and it's important to kind of not focus too much on that. Maybe under, kind of process that, but then also realize, okay, just because of that happened, that doesn't dictate who I am. And sometimes some of our beliefs and of who we are kind of come from that, and it's really important that you're able to kind of find out where you want to be, and then as you go through the journey, realize, okay, this is where that belief came from, and I'm not going to take it. So kind of failing forward, or not failing forward, but going forward and moving forward as you experience those really tough moments.
It's starting to be self-reflective in a way. It's also
Yes.
like starting to hear the thoughts. I will always remember I went to this workshop and they said, "Why don't you write down all your negative self-talk?" And I sat there and was blank. I wasn't even aware of it. And I wasn't perfect. I mean, I'm positive. Y'all know that. But I mean, we all got junk, and I literally stood there and didn't know what my junk was because I wasn't self-aware enough to be able to identify it. So that's part of the battle. It's just starting to be curious. For me, a mantra in my life was, I'm listening. I just walked around saying in my head, I'm listening. I didn't know what was going to happen, but it's interesting. I'm listening.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, I'm listening. And that was really the beginning of my healing journey, truly. So I love that you bring that up. What's next?
Chris, so with these setbacks and you really push forward through grit and everything, but how's that enhanced your career now?
Yeah.
What, really, how have you helped others along this journey as well?
Okay, so with that, I would say for sure being able to help people from a really rough place. For me, experiencing this failure, it wasn't all, cupcakes and, happy things. I know a lot of times I had to really go through really rough moments, not making the soccer team. I was sitting, in my room in San Antonio at home, and I was like, what's next? Like, I put everything into this. I pictured myself on the team. Visualization is so powerful. So it's like reconstructing that and realizing too that I'm able to use my failure, those moments where I did fail, and then also change it, because I was using my visualization also in student government and when I was a resident assistant with different areas of my life of where I am today, and then I even see myself future having a caseload and having a private practice eventually. So, things worked out in this sense where I understand where people are coming from because I experienced that failure, but also it's visualization helped me get to where I want to be, and failing and kind of reprocessing and regathering different information to help me readjust the plan has been the most helpful.
I love it. And so being able to be aware, to visualize, and look, I want to visualize college. And this morning I got so lost, I was almost late. I was like, oh, it was so good in my future, okay? I was loving it. And you get to the point where when you're visualizing, you literally don't know what's going to happen next. Has anybody had this happen? Where you think like you visualize and you have to project, but sooner or later, you're just like in this like artificial intelligence world, this virtual reality, and all kinds of crazy things happen in it, right? And so sometimes when I've been given a gift of a vision and then it's stomped on, it hurts. And it makes you really reconcile with yourself, and you got to really get clear. I'm like, but I thought this was who I was. I thought this is where I was going. And what do you mean this isn't who I am? What do you mean this isn't where I'm going? Does anything else in my life still ring true, right? When you hit those dark moments, you start questioning your life, your choices, your reality, right? And what I'm hearing from you is that even if you hit that dark place and you've been given this vision and you believe that's who you are and you realize you're not going to be able to fulfill that vision for whatever reason, through that, you can reinvent yourself and you can begin to have empathy for others on when they're struggling, so you can help them reinvent themselves and understand, like you said, that's not who you are. That failure, that goal is not who you are. Who you are is sitting in front of you. Right? Who you are is so much bigger than this room. That's who you are.
Yeah, refocusing is huge. So sometimes, I guess the key word for a lot of things is refocusing on the vision and reevaluating. So that was really powerful in and of itself.
Yeah. Awesome. Miss Stephanie Luna.
I want to be open and vulnerable about what Crystal said. So I love doing that visualization, but sometimes I have this inner battle too daily where I would picture the worst of the worst of the worst just goes in my mind subconsciously. And so I have to be very intentional about stopping that and doing what Crystal said, and just visualize positive things and knowing that I am worth positive things, because I feel like I speak that to the people around me, that I'm always like, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, and all these things, because people are beautiful and wonderful. But I tell myself I am too. So I'm just sharing this just so that maybe somebody going through inner struggles in their mind just understand that sometimes your mind tends to be negative sometimes, but doing what the gentleman right here said about working out and keeping your mind positive is really useful. So thank you for that about working out.
Yeah, 100%. And actually, this goes back to caveman days. There is real psychology, and we got the psychologists in the room, so I might be speaking too. But there is real psychology behind the fact that when we were cavemen and cavewomen, we had to hear the cat in, the leopard or the cougar, whatever it is, in the bushes, because it could jump in and kill us. And so we had to always be listening. And our brain is wired to find what's wrong in the situation. That's why you see signs, billboards, and they'll turn a letter upside down, because you get more attention off of that upside, because your brain is trained to go, oh, I see something that's wrong. Now you're paying attention to your signs. So people do it for marketing too. but your brain is trained and wired. So you have to, like we said, like a muscle, start training your brain to see the things that are positive. And how do you do that? Write down 3 things that you're grateful for every single day. Write down 3 things that went well every single day. Find those little things. Or for me, I do the alphabet. Have you ever done the alphabet? I start with A, air. I get to breathe this air. B, it's beautiful. B, look at the birds. C, cat. That's my favorite cat I've ever seen. And I just walk around looking like a lunatic, smiling, singing my ABCs, talking about what I'm grateful for. So there's a million different ways that you can cultivate gratitude, but through gratitude, you're able to start breaking off that negative thought patterns. And it's ants, right? The negative, adverse negative thoughts, or what's it called? ANTS, you know what I'm talking about. It's from cognitive behavioral therapy, but it is real. It's called ants, and it's something negative thoughts, automatic negative thoughts, ants. So ants is a real thing, and it does play into visualization. So thank you so much for being here, Christopher McDonald, the one and the only. I want to know, Al, what did you get out of today?
You know, just definitely having a positive mindset through everything you do, and think like a bulldozer, like go forward, because that's the only way to go.
Yeah.
You know, and when you're set back, get back up and get through that threshold, break through that wall that's holding you back, and really expose yourself to the new beginnings, the new opportunities that are coming by.
Yeah. And one of the things that I heard new today from your story is dream big. You know, look, if he was like, look, my mom told me that college was important, so I'm gonna go to college. No, he said, I'm a college athlete, folks. Okay, maybe I'm not, but okay, I'm definitely gonna work at the snack shack. Okay, maybe I'm not. Okay, I'm definitely home king. Okay, maybe I'm not. But each of those was because he had a vision and he prepared and allowed himself to dream big. And through that, he was put in situations that pushed him and tried him and got him out of his comfort zone, so he could then be here today as a counselor to be able to pour into other people and give them that empathy. But if you play small and you stay in your comfort zone, you don't get pushed to excel, which means when somebody needs you, you don't have that residual, that well, that resurgence of caring to give to somebody because you haven't experienced it yourself, right? You're playing small. So by playing big and having a vision and learning to persevere, be resilient, and go after opportunities, through that experience, you can then give back to others and live an incredible life, right? And this man just got his master's, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, this wasn't a bachelor's, this man went on and got a master's. So special shout out to you. That was really what I took away, was really have that vision, dream big, fail forward, push yourself, and see every no as an opportunity. And be careful who you're hanging around. Those were the things I got. Anybody else want to share what they got? Did anybody in the put in the chat, if you had a breakthrough, I'd like to hear that too. And we're going to give away some Jaguar gifts in just a moment. So, but anybody else have anything they want to share that they got today? Please, Ellie.
I met Chris a couple of years ago when I first came. He was maybe 16. I think at that time.
Yeah, talk to our folks online. They need some love. Give them some love.
Send the mic on as well.
Right there.
Yeah, just hit the button.
That was the thing. I don't know how it works. I haven't been in much years. Awesome. Okay, there we go. Can you guys hear me now? Hope so. All right. I met Chris about 3-4 years ago when I first came here to UHB, and at the time, I believe he was working at the Snack Shack, and then he became he became an RA, and then he became the SJ president. And every single time I saw him, I was like, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. President?" Like, it was just a little thing. But just seeing him here today, speaking to you guys as possible incoming students, or if you are coming to UHB, congrats. But the point what I'm trying to say is that, like, Crystal?
Yes.
Crystal was saying, dream big. It's because of him that I'm still here today, and other people like him that have motivated me. Earlier, my boss Hillary was here. People like her. You saw Dr. Wilkinson in the video. People like that are the people who have built me to the person that I am today. So my advice to you is to look for people, look for mentors who will guide you and build you to be the people that you want to be. I also wanted to be a college athlete. Did not become a college athlete, as you can tell. Not obviously can't tell, but now you know. And then I wanted to do all of these different kinds of things at UHB. I didn't have an opportunity to do it. But at the end of the day, I still have my goals. And I can promise you this right now, in about 10 years, I'm gonna have this huge sports training company, And I hope to see all of you guys there supporting me. And it's because of people like Chris and everyone in this room and all of you guys online listening that I have the mentality that I do. And I hope that you have the same mentality wherever you go in your life. And yeah.
And that actually segues so beautifully. So what I want to honor is one that you shared the intimate moments of the Mr. President and everything else, because it's those moments that somebody else finds themselves in, right? And one of the things that you shared was about how the mentors have poured into you, and you named 4 or 5, right? I love that, because one of the things that we want you to get out of this program, out of Bridge to Brilliance, is a mentor, right? Whether or not we're talking about mentorship directly or not, what we're saying is you have people like myself, Kyle Motal, Christopher McDonald, Woodrow, Wagner, Rosie McCuster, Sherilyn Hodge, who want to be able to pour into you as well. Dr. D, I mean, come on, Dr. D, Donald Jakowski, all of us who have been on camera have said that, yes, you can reach out to us for an informational interview or to be your mentor or to help guide you. That is part of what that means to be participating in Bridge to Brilliance. And so we want you to get your mentor, whether or not it's an informal mentorship where you just see someone, you say, what's up, Mr. President? And you just have that special bond and somehow he's motivating you and then it's the RA and all this. That is so beautiful. And why not get a formal mentorship as well? So if you have informal mentors, that's awesome. We also want to encourage you to get a formal mentor as well. And how do you get your formal mentor?
You can definitely just go to Handshake. So there,
Handshake.
Career Services, hit up Amy and her team.
Special shout out to Amy.
definitely-
Happy. We love Amy, yes.
But yeah, you can apply to get a mentor off a Handshake. Really easy process, and
Yeah. You go to click Career Services / Experiences, and then click on Apply for a Mentor, and it will have you fill out a form, and then you'll review some informational interview suggestions, and then you get to meet the mentor directly. So Miss A, we're just giving you some love. We love Miss A. I know. Look at that.
What are we?
We're just talking about getting a mentor through Handshake.
Yes, yes. All you need to do is log into your Handshake account. Does everyone know how to get into that? Awesome. So get into your Handshake account and then go to the Career Center tab. The Career Center tab. Show my ballet skills.
I was impressed. I was like, that was graceful.
And look for experiences, and you'll be able to choose a mentor there, and we will connect you. We'll be happy to do so.
And anything else for career services you want to mention?
We do have some upcoming events coming up in August. We've got our part-time job fair is back this year. First week of school in the Commons building. We're going to have to keep it a little smaller than normal because of safety concerns, but we're super excited. Followed by a virtual one the following week. We also already have the date for this fall's JCPenney Suit Up event, and we're going to be doing our coffee and career chats a different way. We're moving those into the virtual space this fall, and we already have some wonderful employer speakers that are coming in that are going to be talking to our students. So look for a lot of events and activities and employer-led workshops on skills, and we are so excited for our fall and to have all the students back. We're ready. Thank y'all.
Thank you. And it's worth noting, off of, I don't know if it was the most recent job fair, I think it was, we ended up hiring right out of it. So I don't know if you're looking or not, if you're just doing informations, check it out. But we actively were using that as a recruiting tool and hired a UHV alumni right out of the job fair. So I encourage you to attend. And it was a virtual job fair. You went into the little room. It was like totally different. It's still worth showing up and participating. Thank you so much. Awesome. So comment in the chat who's going to take action and commit to doing grit. I want to know. And I want to know, did anybody here get a breakthrough? Did anybody get something today? What was somebody's nugget? Dream big. Yes. Set yourself up, fail forward, dream big, get out of your comfort zone, because even if you fail forward in that moment, you're setting yourself up to help somebody else in the future. Absolutely. And then, hey, shoot for the stars. You know, might wind up among the moon, right? I won't get that backwards again, I promise. All right.
I'd say for me, it was the whole be a bulldozer.
Yeah.
That's really been like just sticking in my head.
Yeah.
That's like a visual way.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many good nuggets. We reiterated them in the chat section, Rosie and I.
Yeah, I
There
saw
were
that.
so many takeaways today.
Yeah. Beautiful. Well, Rosie, is there anybody you want to give a shout out?
Seen in here as well. I don't know if she got a chance to say any words. And Miss Charlotte.
Yeah, Miss Sherilyn, come on up.
And Zeno is at a bus afterwards.
Yes, please come on up.
Hello, everybody, virtually and here. I'm Sherilyn Hodge. I'm a student success coach. For all of our current students and future students, we are here in the Student Success Center. We provide our tutoring services, all of our student success coaches. So if you're looking for even an informal or formal mentor, we're here to help you. Elliot's my student. And so come by and see us. We always have snacks and great conversation. And if you need any help with any of your subjects, we have tutoring available for you.
Nice. And what would you say to somebody who's considering UHV? Who's maybe a high school student? Maybe
If you are currently a high school or bridge student, the best thing, I'm a UHV alumni, I'm first generation. And the thing that helped me most at UHV was having a professor who was always willing to have an open door to me. And having this small setting, we're all like family. I can see anybody in the hall and hang out and chat with them and know what's going on in their lives, and that's very important. It's not only important in the classroom when you're learning a subject, but it's even more important when you're looking for those people that are going to write you recommendation letters, that are going to vouch for you in the workforce. So building those relationships now is important. And to get into UHB is very easy. It's very simple. We're here to walk you through that process, from the recruiting process all the way through admissions into financial aid. We always have somebody walking with you every step of the way. If you need to reach out to somebody, we have enrollment specialists. That would be Tammy Still and Lisa Caldwell. Those are people that you should know and get to know. We have a lot of people that can help you once you are admitted, include myself, Miss Sarah Thurman. I think she's virtual right now. Miss Courtney Bowman Hawthorne. And Mr. Jesse McLean. We're all here to kind of help you get into your first semester of college and help you get acclimated into college. And then our first year seminar, you'll get a lot of great nuggets in there about how to basically survive in college, and teaching you great life skills and great marketable skills that will help you from your whole life long, and turn you really into a lifelong learner, because this journey doesn't just end when you walk across the stage. It continues on after that. I've been out of college a long time, and I'm still learning and still striving for more education. So keep that in mind.
Thank you, Ms. Sherilyn. And I know we have some of the student, do y'all want to come up? And just as we're kind of wrapping up here, I know one of the things that I love so much about UHV is the fact that it's setting you up for success. So many colleges have these big classes in the first couple of years are designed to weed people out and just like kick out the weak, so to speak. And that's not at all what I get from UHV. UHV, what I heard from Sherilyn, what I've seen from the students, what I've heard from the alumni, is that it's more like a hug almost, like you kind of know folks, they know you, they want to help you. Walk me through kind of what was your experience as a first-year student?
Okay. Well, yeah, UHB definitely feels like home. I come from a small town, so definitely looking into UHB, I was excited that the classrooms were small and that you would actually be able to, get to know your professors, get to know your classmates, because you see them in many of your classes. So that's what really encouraged me to pick UHB as my city to attend. And I loved it, so I'm glad.
Awesome. And you, are you first student?
I am in the MBA program, so
nice. And MBA after your name is like jewelry for the rest of your life. I got my MBA. It's my favorite degree. It just, you get interviews, you get jobs, you get promotions off of it. It's a fabulous degree choice. Okay, please, Elliot, tell me your experience.
So when I came here, it was really off of a whim. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like Chris, I was pursuing college. Oh, he was pursuing college soccer. I was pursuing college track and field. I thought I was good enough, and I still believe that I'm good enough if I decided to ever go back to that life. But I have better things to do now. It's because of the people that I mentioned earlier when I was talking about Chris, Dr. Wilkinson, Hillary Kaufman, Michelle and Hodge, Amy Hatmaker. So many people that I've met just within my first semester and within my time here overall that just made it feel like home. I had a shirt on earlier, it says "We Care," and literally UHB is about we care. Like that is the mantra, the motto. It's like make your mark. It's the whole intro. But actually, I'll tell it right now. Make your mark is so important, especially to me, because I'm the type of guy that wants to do things my own way. I'm not the brightest kid out there. I'll tell you right now. I've struggled with classes as it is, and I'm struggling right now. But at the end of it, I'm still making my mark. I've taken steps to counter my flaws with positivity. I've networked like crazy since I've been, remember the first time Dr. Glenn, our president, came to UHB. He was at an SGA meeting, and I was just there chilling in the background, just hanging out, listening in. And he said that his door is open to anyone. And every single time I see him, he says, "Dude, come by the office, let's talk, let's chat." And I'm like, that's crazy, because the president of the school wants to talk to a student who doesn't even have the grades to, be on the honor system and things like that. So no matter what your grades look like, no matter what you do outside of school, it's okay, because UHB will take care of you. We are a family, and I hope to see you guys.
I love that. And I was giving some love, give them both some love. What I heard out of this is make your mark because we care. And because UHB cares so much, they're going to take you just as you are, but they're going to push you to be better, and they're not going to allow you to stay as you started, right? Make your mark because we care, and so that's what they want. I love that so much. Thank y'all both for sharing your story. Thank you. Go ahead, have a seat. So with that, a special thank you again to Christopher McDonald, to my co-host Kyle Motal, and of course to Rosie McCusker for putting all this on and doing it all. She's our fearless leader. I am so grateful for you. Amy Hatmaker representing with the Career Services. Thank you so much for doing it. And by the way, when we lobbed the mentor thing, she was like, okay, let's put it in Career Services. We're going to do this. She made that happen. That was not available, and she really pulled some strings. So thank you. Thank you, Miss Amy Hatmaker. Everybody, thank you. This has been so much fun being in person. I just want to keep talking because that's just who I am. Believe it or not, I'm an introvert. Believe it or not. I know, fun fact. So I will let y'all have the rest of your evening. I don't know if there's more tacos.
Dr. D, thank Dr.
Yes,
D and
well,
Dr. Richard.
Yes, of course. Thank you. So, of course, Donald Jakovsky was our very first interview. So thank you to Donald Jakovsky. Oh my goodness. He kicked us off and set a high bar and shows up consistently and stays invested even when he's not on camera. Dr. D, the place ain't the same without you. I mean, you bring the hype music, and you are so near and dear to my heart. And I've only met you in person like 2 or 3 times. I feel like we hang out. Like we're besties, And Woodrow Wagner, the one and the only. This man right here always brings a fresh perspective, deep intellect, and it is an amazing writer. If you have not read his writings, you need to be able to check it out. So he just put together a lot of time and effort and culminating what we're doing here to tie it even closer to UHV. So thank you so much for what you do behind the scenes, on camera, showing up. I just pour into you, Woodrow. So thank you so much. What a wonderful group. Again, I wish we could be in person from day one, but we went online because COVID can't stop this. And so now we're going to bring it in person and online a little bit more. So we'll be mixing it up, going back to the online format in September. So stay tuned. We have a big lineup starting in the fall. And with that, I'm Crystal Lindsay.
I'm Kyle Motal.
And I'm Christopher McDonald.
And we are Bridge to Brilliance. Oh, and then what about the swag? How are we going to do this? Anybody post?
We just throw stuff out.
Yeah, I got
I know. I don't think anybody posted. I did stories, but I don't think I gave comments for stories. Okay.
Do you like the actual charges?
Oh, battery charges for the phone. Now you're talking.
I'm gonna stop.
Yes, please.
I think there's
Yeah, I think
And
they're all
thank
good.
y'all online. Woohoo! I know you're right here, but you're here in spirit. I appreciate you. Look, giving special shout outs here. We got Emily Lucas, Nicholas Crow, Dominic Sanchez,